Hello, everybody, and welcome to One Step Ahead. My name is Kendall Colman, and I am the host of this show. This show is all about providing you the tools, the habits, the partnerships, the innovations, the ideas, the habits, and everything that you might need to stay one step ahead. I am delighted to be here because we are really going to be offering some practical wisdom for these uncertain times. And as we kind of just get grounded here today, it is really deeply my pleasure to introduce you to Aana Wilson. And Aana Wilson is a hypnotherapist, certified hypnotherapist, and she's going to walk us through the tools that are needed right now for you to stay one step ahead, whether that be with your intuition, with your inner guidance, with your hunches, with your self-talk, with who and where and when you should be to really maximize your highest good. And I'm thrilled to just let you know that Aana helps high achieving women quiet anxious patterns, reconnect with their inner wisdom. And I'm reading this because I really want to make sure I get this right because she is amazing, basically, is what I want to share. But what she's going to do is just invite us to consider that our subconscious mind can be pointed in a certain direction. And through that repatterning and higher mind alignment, she supports women in leading with clarity, calm, and a deep sense of self-trust. I can attest to the power of this because I have actually been working with Aana and it is game changing. She will walk us through many different techniques. Now, she's got a lot of different techniques, so what she may do with me, she may not do with someone else. But those different techniques allow clients to update their limiting beliefs, which is really one of my favorite things to use hypnotherapy for. Process difficult emotions and raise your hand right now if there's a lot of difficult emotions right now out there. And what we're going to be doing then also is training the brain for successful outcomes. And like yay, I would like that. I know everybody listening to this would love that as well. Personally, I started using subconscious affirmations about 30 years ago. And I can attest that every single thing I created an affirmation for when I went through the 8 areas of life, and I created a whole set of affirmations for each of those areas of life of how I wanted to feel. What is my perfect day? What is the experiences I want to have? And I'm not trying to impress anyone here, and I'm just trying to impress upon you that what we're going to be talking about today does work because every single thing on my list has come true for me in my life.
Mm.
And so of course, I do practice that every day. I do practice, and Aana has helped me go even deeper. And that's what I'm really excited to talk about, whether it could even be managing phobias, calming anxieties, managing pain,
Mhm.
accelerating healing, and connect, most importantly, with that connective, intuitive guidance. So that's a very long introduction, but welcome, Aana. We're so thrilled to have you.
I am so thrilled to be here with you today, Kendall. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And is there anything in my introduction that you would change or add or even underline for people as where we're going to be going today?
It was a beautiful introduction. Thank you. Uh, yeah, it was very comprehensive. I think I would just underline that connection to our inner guidance because we all have it. And it's just learning how to access it.
Great. What a great place to start because yes, exactly. Don't we have sort of an intuitive, like we have that guidance even when we're children,
Mm.
and and it's whether or not sort of we trust it and we follow it. But how did it first show up for you as a place of interest and something that you really wanted to actually then go ahead and even spend your career?
Uh, that's an interesting question because I spent the majority of my life with a lot of anxiety and overthinking and worry and just trying to find solutions. And what I was doing was not working for me because I was stuck in my conscious mind, very logical. And I was trying to find certainty and solve everything with my conscious mind alone, not realizing that I had access to inner wisdom and intuitive guidance. So it wasn't until later in my life where I picked up a book on self-hypnosis, and that led me to dive deeper into hypnotherapy and ultimately change my career and become a hypnotherapist because it made such an impact on my life that I wanted to help others to have that same impact.
Mm. So it was your own exploration first, just with a book on self-hypnosis.
Yeah.
And were there techniques in there that maybe just one or two that you remember that right away kind of started shifting things for you?
So that particular book, I used it used imagery.
Okay.
So imagining a desired outcome, that's kind of where I started, right? And it changed my energy and it
Mm,
started shifting things like very surprisingly how things shifted. Like just imagining situations going the way I wanted them to, and then it would. So
mm,
that was very powerful for me. Um, and so after that, I just wanted to dive deeper into it and find out what's going on. Why is this working? Um, Dive deeper into the subconscious mind, the superconscious mind, and how it's all connected and how I can use it even more to access the outcomes that I want in my life.
oh, wonderful. So really, so people can use this not just for feeling better and kind of like boosting our own vibe or our own mood,
Yeah,
but really it can help direct us towards positive outcomes.
absolutely. Yeah, meeting goals. So I there's so many things you can do, and I like to help people with overcoming anxiety and things like that because I overcame that. I also had
Mm,
chronic back pain for 3 years. And so when I went into hypnotherapy school, I was worried about how am I going to sit in school all day long? But I learned in hypnotherapy school how to manage that pain and ended up getting rid of it completely. And so I wanted to help people with that, and just meeting goals. Like for me, I had a fear of public speaking as well. And that was huge because once I became a hypnotherapist, I needed to get myself out there so that my clients could find me. And so I decided I'm going to use the tools that I'm using with my clients to overcome this. And and so that's what I did. I used the hypnosis, which makes it easier to update subconscious beliefs that hold us back. And I used imagery and cognitive reframing and other techniques in order to overcome this.
hmm Well, I love what you're saying. For example, on client attraction, what an incredible tool for entrepreneurs who need to basically manifest a full practice or a full business, whatever you might be doing. And of course, this applies to leaders as well. But since you did raise the idea of client attraction, that's such a great example
Yeah.
of where we could even use in our discussion today as an example, if you'd be up for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So in that example, how would you suggest if somebody said, okay, well, I want to just start with, start with affirmations. I've
Hmm.
heard about affirmations. People think whatever, they may have their some past belief about affirmations, but just to use that, is that would that be a viable source of sort of self-hypnosis to guide your subconscious in a direction. Let's say you wanted to attract a certain kind of client, right? High achieving women.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so could you kind of talk through like what would be an affirmation if that's who I wanted to attract into my business? What would be something I could say to myself?
Yeah, so it is very personal. So, and affirmations are very, as you know, they're very effective. Um, I wouldn't call it hypnosis, but what we're doing with affirmations is we're retraining our brain, rewiring our brain for a more positive outcome and perspective, because we have these subconscious beliefs that hold us back. They're related to our thoughts and our emotions, and when we change those, it helps to update that. So what I usually would do is help the client create affirmations based on. So you were saying if they want to attract more clients in their business, right?
Yeah.
So what we would want to do is um, get in touch with like what is the belief that's holding them back, and what do they need to believe is true about themselves in order to meet that goal.
Mm,
So part of that affirmation is going to be about your identity. So a lot of us have subconscious beliefs that we're not worthy, or we're not smart enough, or we're not good enough. So, yeah, that those are some of the most common ones. So, I am worthy is a really powerful affirmation because believing that we're not is what I call a personal lie. So that needs to be part of the affirmation, to start changing that identity and then being very specific about your goal. So setting a time. Um, when are you going to achieve this by, and what specifically are you going to achieve?
mm.
You also want to create the affirmation. It's going to be present tense. So instead of saying, by July 1st, I have 20 clients, you say, I have 20 clients. Not I'm going to have, but I have 20 clients by July 1st, because this tells the subconscious mind that this is happening now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can I ask one question about that?
Yeah.
So is what you're saying also the importance of by saying it in the present tense, I have, you're also preparing and embodying your emotional field, if we will call it that, how you feel, like what's it going to feel like in your day to have 20 clients that you're managing, you're scheduling, you're getting ready for, you're excited to work with them. So it's also, is it about embodying then the feelings of having so that
Yeah.
it's not a shock when 20 clients are there. Now you're like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Emotional feel is a huge part of it. So being able to get in touch with that. And we often also use imagery to get in touch with that. So imagining yourself, what is that going to look like when you have these 20 clients? Imagining yourself there, because really our subconscious mind does not know the difference between what we imagine and what is actually happening. So that's scientifically backed. So when you imagine it, you're essentially practicing it, and your subconscious mind believes that this is happening now. And so it aligns everything in accordance with that.
Okay. So that's really an important piece, it sounds like, is also to kind of see how are you going to feel? Like what's your perfect day? That's something I'll share with clients as an exercise. What's your perfect day? I did this yesterday with somebody who wants a new job and we saw, we visualized him riding his bike to work. He's always wanted to ride his bike to work. So we had him riding his bike to work. And so is it that kind of also adding that imagery of seeing yourself?
Yes, absolutely. And seeing yourself doing it, and it also creates the energy that attracts that situation because like energy attracts like energy, right? So when you're in that energetic state of riding your bike, of being successful, it attracts that to you and aligns your subconscious mind to that.
Yeah, so exactly. So it might just sending that out. I know for example, when I started my company, and I part of my dream, my imagery was that I wanted to stay within a 10-mile zip code of my house so that I could pick up my daughter every day at carpool. And that was the main reason I started my business is because I wanted that flexibility. And so I imagined all those buildings in all those companies within that 10-mile radius. And I'm in every single one of those buildings now. This is in Denver. And it's just an example of how powerful what Anna is sharing, what you're sharing with us is and that it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a game-changing way to even think about business planning or strategy. It kind of adds a whole new element, doesn't it? If we add this.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And the other part that's really important with to align with business strategy because we have the subconscious mind and the conscious mind is where we do strategy. The subconscious mind really is in control, 96% of our functioning, right? So we want to get that on board with our goals. And then we have our superconscious mind, which is our intuitive guidance, and getting that, aligning everything with that intuitive guidance um, is part of the equation as well. So learning how to access that and connecting with that intuition that's always been there, but you just forgot how to access it. So things become more clear when you do that. And so if you're not knowing which direction to go, um, you're not really making decisions easily, then aligning with that is what brings that clarity.
Mhm. So for our listeners, could you just give us a thumbnail of the conscious mind again, the subconscious, and then the superconscious, and kind of how do they work together, and how can we bring those subconscious and the superconscious forward more?
Yeah, so I mean, we're all pretty much in our conscious minds, right? So we're doing the strategy, the logic, the reasoning, and the subconscious mind is responsible for automatic programming. So if those programs are not on board and in alignment with our conscious goals, then they get in the way, right? So we react to things, um,
Mm,
and we don't take the actions that we want to that help us meet our goals. We take these actions that are automatically programmed, usually from a very young age. And so we want to update the subconscious beliefs and patterning in order to be in alignment with our goals. And then the superconscious mind is a guidance system. So this is really our intuition and the higher self, really. So for some of us, it's inner wisdom, um, but it has access to wisdom beyond our conscious mind. And it also communicates through our subconscious mind through things like emotions, right? So that's where then also our subconscious mind becomes a guide. Um, so I could talk about so many aspects of this. So I'm wondering if that answered your question.
yeah, just want people to kind of have that feeling. I
Hmm.
mean, because it really is sort of a knowing when you're really hearing your intuition.
Yeah,
And
it can be just a knowing. People
okay.
experience it differently. And a lot of times we hear it when we're quiet, when we slow down. and it's just a knowing. It can also be like for me, I intentionally connect with my intuition while I'm in hypnosis, and I get images from my intuition. If I'm not clear on what direction to take, I can ask the question. For me, since imagery is so strong, I receive images as answers and then I'm able to interpret them. So there are different ways that we feel this intuitive guidance. There's synchronicities in that just happen. That's kind of like when you just know it's like more than coincidence, right?
Yeah.
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 So there's many ways that we can be guided with that, but yeah, oftentimes it is just a knowing, a feeling, a gut feeling. Sometimes people describe it as. Um, so I hope that answered that.
Yeah. And that the importance of being quiet
Hmm.
with ourselves
Yeah.
seems to be paramount because if we're in a noisy world and then we're in a noisy being or a noisy body and we're creating a lot of noise through, let's say, overcommitting. And so we're constantly going from one thing to the next, that we're not slowing down and hearing that inner wisdom saying, not right now, don't go there right now, or don't call that person right now, or don't send that email right now, right? Why don't you sleep on that email
Hmm.
before you send it? Or, right? Like there's so much intuitive guidance that we're getting. But
Hmm.
can you speak to the importance of sort of slowing the mind down in the quiet aspect? That,
Yeah, absolutely. Because when our mind is going constantly, we're searching for answers only using our conscious mind. And that intuitive guidance, have you ever noticed like when you struggled and pushed on something for so long and you just couldn't figure it out. And then you kind of just went,
yes.
and you finally let it go. And then the answer comes to you. And you just have a revelation in thought or a feeling that comes along. Or maybe you feel some inspiration to go down a certain pathway because feelings like inspiration and joy, that is part of your guidance system telling you which way to go.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So speaking to that in terms of that joy or just feeling good
Hmm.
is such an important aspect of staying kind of that finely tuned machine so that we're not confusing the energy of, let's say, reading, you're over here reading the news and you're going, I'm not feeling good reading this.
Yeah.
And the importance of just saying it's okay to put that down and get into what does feel good right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to be able to change direction and get in touch with what does feel good because we don't want to stay in that negative for too long because it can really just attract more of that. And it doesn't mean not seeing what's going on around you. It's just also taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Um, but it's also okay to have the negative emotions because all emotions are information.
Yes.
And so I always tell my clients, acknowledge your emotions because so many of us were taught to push them down, pretend they're not there, or we're just busy, 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 and we're ignoring them. But then what happens is they get louder, and they can cause pain and disease in our body because we're not listening and we're just under this high level of stress. And so just acknowledging your emotion, but it doesn't mean staying in it because once you acknowledge it, it wants to communicate with you so then it can move on and a lot of times will once you acknowledge it and then also something important is emotions don't really last that long in our body. They last for about 90 seconds unless our thoughts perpetuate them.
Mhm.
So ask yourself, what thought was I just thinking
It-
when I was feeling this?
right.
And then
Yes.
see, what is that thought trying to tell me? Is there something I need to change? Or maybe I just need to shift my perception
Yeah.
to something equally as true, but positive and supportive.
Love that.
Yeah.
And that importance of it's not about creating artificial harmony for ourselves. That's not what we're saying here, right? It's not about just saying, "Oh, I don't feel sad about this, this relationship ending or this move that we have to make as a family or whatever it might be." It's not about not feeling those things. Like,
Right.
it's very healthy to feel mad, sad, glad, afraid, ashamed, hurt. Those are kind of the big categories in emotional intelligence. And then all emotions underneath those that exist.
Yeah.
But we're just saying, notice when it's a projection, if I'm really upset that somebody didn't acknowledge something, that's
Hmm.
that is a pointer. That's also how our intuition works, right? It's like, oh, this is a projection. There's some work here for me to do. If I'm really upset about this, and yesterday the same thing happened and I didn't get upset at all. So what's going on here? Maybe I need to do that deeper work and find
Yeah.
out where is this coming from? Is it an old belief that needs to be upgraded? Is that
Yeah. Thank you so much for making that point. Yeah, we often do have subconscious beliefs that cause us to react to situations in different ways. We all have, a lens that we see life through based on our experiences, our memories, and our subconscious beliefs. So when we can't control other people and we can't
yeah,
always control our external circumstances, but we can control um, how we react to that if we have the tools to work with our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind stores these automatic programs that maybe once kept us safe and seemed like, the way to respond when we were very young, but is maybe holding us back now. So being able to address that and update that is very powerful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what could be, for example, let's say you heard when you were a child, keep your ideas quieter because, you don't want to outshine everybody.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's one I know that I work with a lot of women who have sort of been told not to outshine others. And so what could be and feel free to talk about what an affirmation could be to get started, but then how would you work with someone around that?
Yeah, so that's actually very common, as you said. And a lot of women have, issues with visibility or just voicing their own thoughts and ideas because of a negative subconscious belief that they should be quiet, that they shouldn't speak up, they should keep their ideas to themselves, or that maybe what they have to say isn't valuable. So, affirmations are something that I usually start with in a first session because we want to create a goal. Like, what is it going to look like when you've overcome this? How do you know that you've succeeded? What does that look like? And also, what's going to support you in meeting that goal? And how do we update that subconscious belief? So the affirmations help to update that. Also, like getting in touch with the emotions, well, processing the emotions and decontaminating memories from the past, even getting the negative energy that can be stuck in our cells, processing that and getting it out. Um, because affirmations are very powerful, imagery is very powerful. Um, sometimes we need to go deeper, to process those stuck emotions and stuck energy. And then also to access the intuitive guidance to figure out like where to go. And then when you do that and put it all together, that's when you start feeling the inspiration and the passion and clarity. So I see women that, when they align all three parts,
Mm,
then they have that clarity. They start to trust themselves more
yes.
and they're able to speak up. They change that negative belief from to I am worthy and what I have to say is valuable. And not only that, but it's important to share, right?
Yes.
So you're more in alignment with your purpose and your passion. And yeah, I mean, it's just amazing, transformation to see when
It is.
this all comes together.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is, and it is a process, and I'm always sharing that with my clients, and I'm sure you are as well. That but staying committed, really, and to the process, and staying committed to reframing that in the moment. Right. If it might be, a visibility, oh, I'm afraid to post this. Nobody, what will people say about it? Changes to the right people will see this and benefit from it.
Yeah.
That could just be one right there. The right people that I trust that the right people will see this. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. That's very powerful. Yes, definitely. Um, I lost, there was something else you said that I
Yeah.
wanted to comment on, and what was it? Maybe it'll come back to me.
Okay.
We can move on.
But those three areas you're saying when lined up,
Hmm.
and I think that you really spoke to something deeply there around the self-trust. When we have had a betrayal, and maybe we didn't trust that instinct of ours that said, maybe it's time to get out of this situation. Maybe it's time to move away from, let's just say, a relationship, whether that be a client relationship, whether it be a partner relationship, whether it be changes to your relationships with your children or your parents, or it could be anything. But when we stay too long or when we're not listening,
Hmm.
then that healing process with first trusting ourselves again.
Yeah.
What would that look like if somebody came to you and said that's really where I need to start?
Yeah. So I definitely, it's different for everybody,
Yeah.
right? So, if they have that in their past, they may have developed a negative subconscious belief around that. And so we would I always start with the goals and the affirmations and the imagery, and then we look at like what emotions are coming up. um what are you noticing that's coming up for you as you practice this? And I teach all my clients to practice self-hypnosis also, because I think it does need to be maintained. Alignment isn't like a one and done. It takes that commitment. And but when you experience the benefits of it, it's easy to do. So yeah, so then if there's a memory from the past or an emotion, a feeling, then we work with, trying to process through that. So I have various techniques that I use
Mm,
depending on what's going on with the client. And a lot of it has to do with imagery and guided techniques to help you communicate with your subconscious mind as well as your superconscious, which is that higher guidance, right? And so that's where things where we go a little bit deeper, and it's very powerful. And people make huge transformations. I have had clients just do one session and be like, I'm good now. Everything's great, which is amazing.
Yay.
It happens all the time. Hypnotherapy works very quickly. And so there was a scientific study where it showed that there was I think it was, yeah, 93% success rate with an average of 6 sessions. So, well, everybody is different. It works much faster than one might think, um, to really process all of this. And at the same time, some people think it should only take 1 session. Because, my mom went to a stage hypnotist and she was hypnotized. This actually did happen with my mom, right? She was hypnotized to quit smoking and she quit for a year. Um, and so that's very powerful. That does happen. The reason I don't do that in 1 session is because we're not dealing with those underlying emotions. So what can happen is you might stop smoking, but now you're reaching for food or something else to deal with those emotions. So processing that and really getting to the bottom of that is so important.
Yeah. Something that is actually an addiction, I would imagine would definitely take more than one session.
Yeah.
Something where it is, overwork or overspending or gambling or drugs and alcohol or sex addiction or, right? There's all sorts of things but I mean, true addiction, especially like a smoking,
Yeah.
I could see would really require some deep work to because and then you're also physically addicted.
Yeah. And actually, with smoking, it's out of your system within a few days. It's really
Okay.
a
Okay.
habit.
Hmm.
Um, so it can be, that's why it works with hypnotherapy because it's not really a physical addiction. Well, it is addictive, that process is in just a few days.
Hmm.
It's
Good to
more
know.
about the habit. If you're a smoker,
Yes.
um, just try smoking with your other hand and see how hard it is. It's because it's a habit. You want to do what's familiar with the one hand you're smoking with.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know we're going down many different avenues here, and what would you like people to really walk away knowing today that they could start on their own and then when to reach out to you? When is that point where you go, I think I do need to bring in, the top person on this and really get some help.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely start with affirmations and imagery like I did. I had a book, to guide me with that. Um, I like to tell people to start with their emotions. And I have a 3-step process for that. And if anyone goes to my website and contacts me, I'll send that to them. But processing their emotions first, because that is part of your internal guidance system. Um, and then, yeah, I would say, when should they contact me?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think,
I mean, of
I,
course, I mean, I would say really anything you want to achieve or accomplish in your life, call on
yeah,
because you will get there faster and go farther than you ever even imagined in a shorter amount of time.
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you
So,
for saying it for me. Yeah. Um, absolutely. So,
yeah,
anytime you feel stuck or you just want some help with something that you've been struggling with or a goal you want to achieve,
yeah,
give me a call.
great. Okay, so I definitely will have all of this in the show notes, but I absolutely would love to just have you say your website for us.
Yeah, it is AanaWilson.com.
And actually, let me just see if I can just share it real quick here so everybody can see that here on the recording.
Yeah. And so I have my mom was being creative, so my name is spelled differently. It's Anna with two A's in the front and then one N. So AANAWILSON.com.
Wonderful. And so you can go there, and is there an email if people want to call you or reach out right now?
Hypnosis at AanaWilson.com.
Excellent. And can they just have a discovery session with you or to just kind of talk and make sure the chemistry's right in order to get
Absolutely.
started?
Yeah, you can either call me or schedule a discovery session, um, basically a free consultation directly from my website.
Wonderful. All right. And just in our last moments here, is there anything that you'd really love to share that I didn't ask you that you want to put a finer point on? I want to make sure I know we had a very deep and rich conversation here about some really neat. I mean, these are the tools that we're gifted as a human that can help really guide and create an amazing life for ourselves.
Yeah, they are. I just want to remind everybody that the answers are already inside them.
Mm,
We all have intuition. We just need to relearn how to access it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I would love to share, one of my favorite affirmations that I say on a daily basis is I trust my energy to guide my way. And I
Beautiful.
love that because if I'm clear and I don't have kind of my emotional field isn't wonky, then I can trust that my energy is going to guide me. And you might say, oh, that's just whatever somebody might say about it. But that has worked so well for me to guide my way to make great decisions, partners, programs, visibility, dealing with challenges, aging parents, whatever the situation might be, just dropping back into that inner wisdom of I trust my energy to guide my way. And another favorite that feel free to borrow is that everything is working out for me.
Mm-hmm. That's very
And
powerful too.
do you like that one?
I do. Yeah, I say that one a lot.
Yeah,
And I think I'm going to adopt I trust my energy to guide my way as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just love that because it's kind of like if I'm tired and it's 7 p.m., I trust my energy that it's time for me to crawl into bed. Right? It's like no judgment living. It's just I really trust my inner energy and my energy about things to guide my way and it works in every way.
Yes. And everything is happening in perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I know I could spend so much time talking with you more. I'd like to just invite everybody to go check out AanaWilson.com. It's an amazing resource for you so that you don't have to go through this life alone, kind of trying to figure it out, bumbling, and maybe it's however things might be showing up in your life that you want something more. This is the perfect time to reach out to Anna and get her wisdom guiding your life.
Thank you so much, Kendall.
Oh, thank you. We really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Great.